What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tino back here for episode number 2 of the day. We were here earlier. We previewed SummerSlam and we went through all the matches and we watched how all of them were played out in the WWE 2K23. You guys let me know what you guys think about that. Should we do the preview shows like that for now on? Should we just go back to looking at my face for 45 minutes? What do you guys want to do here on the preview shows? But we're here today, guys. As you always know, it's Thursday afternoon, and it's time for another episode of the SouthSide Boys. It's episode number 20, and things just continue to seem to get worse. White Sox, they've lost 18 out of the last 26, I think Chuck Garfien said. They've scored 4 runs in the last 3 games. Dylan Cease pitched awful yesterday. They traded away 6 pitchers. They traded away Burger Tom over to Miami, and I don't even know. I said it last week on the show. There was a lot to there'd be a lot, and it'd be a different looking White Sox team. And I was just hoping for the White Sox. I don't even know. But guys, we're here today to talk about it all. So make sure you comment and leave your concerns. Please be nice. Let's not make fun of me and Deech the whole episode. We know the White Sox are awful. So let's not waste any time and let's get Deech in here for episode number 20. Deech, can you believe we've done 20 episodes already this year?
That's gone a lot faster than the season.
I mean, honestly, I feel like honestly, this show is the only thing that has got me through the season because it makes me look forward to doing the show. Because if I didn't have the show, there would give me no reason to watch the game. Like I was at my aunt's last night watching Big Brother and everything like that, spending time with my aunt, my cousin, and she's like, "What are you doing watching the Sox game?" I'm like, "Listen, I don't want to watch the game, but like I need to know what happens, so when I come on here, I know what I'm talking about because somebody gets hurt, whatever the heck happens." Yes, looking at the stats helps, but there's sometimes some things, and me and you were talking before. You said you haven't been watching too many of the games. I have that problem where I have to watch the games. I like pain is the problem, I think. I'm always here no matter what time watching it. That's why we need football to start ASAP because, yes, the Bears have a little bit more. They're hopefully going to be good, and Justin Fields getting all this praise and everything, but I don't know. Fantasy football just helps me so much. But how do you feel the last week in baseball? How do you feel about the MLB trade deadline? We traded away all those guys. We got no more Keaton Middleton alerts. We got no more Burger Time. I don't know, man. I showed they New York, bro. They have to change their code because they did Middleton wrong. They should not have made him shave his beard. I gotta say that right now. I don't even care. Should not have made that guy do that. Not okay. But how do you feel about everything? We'll get right into the trades and everything right away after. But how do you feel?
I mean, overall performance-wise, the team is just lifeless. And the trade deadline, I honestly think, was eye-opening. But on the same token, I feel like how much motivation can you have if you're these players that are left on the team? So well, I think it's interesting to see. They could be very bad the rest of the season. And do you even blame them at that point? Is this season just a wash?
We'll flush it. We're gonna flush it. Oh man, I'm just and that's like kind of like how I feel. Like it's like you see it on the players' faces, and it's like the way you're talking is the way everybody is on the field. Nobody's got any energy. Nobody's got any type of fight. Nobody cares, it seems like. And it's like today, they scored 3 runs in the top of the first, and the Rangers scored in the bottom of the second, and I'm like, here we go. I'm like, and then they scored again, and then they scored again. And again, last week when we were on here, the Sox didn't win any games. But in the past week, they did win 2 out of 3 versus the Guardians. They did lose the 1 game that you went to, so I think you might be the problem, bro. I'm sorry that you have to go to 8 more games. So, but, I mean, and then they go into Texas, and I didn't have too much hope, obviously, after they traded all their pitchers. They traded away Giolito, Lopez, Lynn, Kelly, Middleton, and then who was the other one they traded away? Graveman. And then they traded away Jake Burger. So I didn't expect all of it, and I didn't expect it. But after winning 2 out of 3 versus the Guardians, I was like, okay. I was like, maybe we'll win 1 versus the Rangers. But you and Justin said it best last week. Did we really think they were going to beat the Rangers? Rangers are good. They are a really good baseball team. And watching, I said it on Saturday. I said it on Sunday. And I think it's my fault for this one. But I said, watch Dane Dunning go out there and shove just to push it in the White Sox face. And Justin said it on a tweet. I wanted to mention it since we don't got Justin on the show this week. He goes out there and he's like, well, Rick Renteria must have knew something about Game 3 because Dane Dunning is totally a different pitcher from that time. But, man, Dane Dunning would look really good in our rotation right now. And it's like we traded Lance Lynn to the Dodgers, traded Joe Kelly and everything. We'll get into the trades in a second and everything. But I don't know, man. And, yes, we sometimes don't know what these players are going to be. But that's why I always say, bro, and you see – and I'll talk about it real quick. We see guys like Semien. We see guys like Chris Bassett. We see guys like Dane Dunning. We see guys go to these places and these guys that we trade and they just become superstars. And it's like, if the White Sox just didn't make these trades, bro, like imagine the team that we would have. It just makes me so sick sometimes. And it just seems like nothing seems to go right for this team at all. So let's get into all of the trades that went down for the White Sox. There were a few other trades that went down. The Baltimore Orioles, they did go out and get the dude from the Cardinals. It was Jordan Montgomery, right? Yeah.
Did they get who got Flaherty?
Oh, no, Jack Flaherty. That's who it was. Jack Flaherty. I'm getting mixed up. Jordan Montgomery. It was Jack Flaherty. So Jack Flaherty, he went to the Orioles. The Orioles were in talks with the White Sox for Dylan Cease, but everybody wanted Jackson Holiday, and I don't think the Orioles were going to budge. And, I mean, why would they? They have a good young team. They have a prospect pool of everybody that they could have and just fishing for guys. I mean, they really didn't need to. And the guys they gave up for Flaherty, because a lot of the guys the Sox did get rid of, I will give it to them, are rentals. So, like, Giolito will be a free agent. I think Lopez will be a free agent. There's a couple other guys that Lynn will be a free agent, right? Is it Lynn too? Or is
Lynn and Kelly had club options, so I mean,
okay,
they could be a free agent.
Okay, see, we traded away so many players. I'm trying to keep track of it all. So, but I mean, it's just one of those things that So yeah, I mean, the Houston Astros, they went out and they got Miss Kate Upton, and then they just had to bring Justin Verlander with her. So Justin Verlander went back to Houston. The Mets blew it up. Max Scherzer made his debut for the Rangers today. He won after the White Sox, as I said earlier, scored 3 runs in the beginning. I was like, White Sox going to win this game. And then it all went downhill. But Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, they went from being teammates in Detroit to fighting for the division. And it's going to be a dogfight. And listen, as much as I hate the Houston Astros, I'd rather see the Astros get in just for Abreu. And let's see Abreu put some damage in the playoffs. And it's sad that we're now rooting for the guys that we should be rooting for on this team on other teams. Because, yeah. But let's go through all these trades and let's talk about the guys that they got. And then let's talk about everything else. So, and the first trade that went down, it was on July 26th. The Chicago White Sox acquired Kai Busch, left-handed pitcher, and catcher Edgar Quirto. I said that right. Quirto. For Lucas Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez. And we did talk a little bit about this last week. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it last week, we did talk a little bit about this. But Lucas did not make his first start yet, and he didn't have a great first start. But it wasn't as bad as his second start against the Atlanta Braves, where he gave up 9 runs. I think he gave up 3 home runs, and it was just not a good start. It was like watching the game on it was like watching the game on your birthday when we were sitting at the thing where Michael Kopech was just giving up home run after home run, and the game was over after the first inning because he gave up that grand slam. So the White Sox got a catching prospect, and they got a left-handed pitching prospect in Kai Busch. The other trade that went down is the White Sox acquired Trace Thompson. If that name sounds familiar, Trace Thompson was with the White Sox before. They also got right-handed pitcher Nick Nasterini. There we go. And Jordan Leisure. What'd you say?
It's like Nasterini or Nastrini.
Oh, okay. And then they got Jordan Leisure from the Dodgers for left-handed pitcher or right-handed pitchers, Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly. We also lost double L Day. Bro, you lost like 4 things this past week. You can't do Middleton alerts. We can't do burger bombs. You can't do double L Day. I mean, White Sox just gutted the pitching staff. So, and then they also traded Kendall Graveman over back to the Houston Astros, where he came from the year after the White Sox faced the Astros. And there's that sound of him saying, man, this place is electric. I would love to play here. Now he's back in Houston with his boys, and I'm sure they're going to make a playoff push. And then the White Sox, they got Corey Lee, catcher, which most likely should be up by the time in a few weeks. I feel like he'll be the catcher by September 1st. So Corey Lee will be the catcher for the White Sox at the end of the year. Please get Sebi Zavalli off this team. I cannot deal with him anymore. And if I have to listen to ever, I can't anymore. I'm sorry, I just can't. So those were the trades that went down on and before the trade deadline. And then on the trade deadline day, as we were live here and literally right before you came on, because you came on for a couple minutes to talk, and appreciate you coming on and hanging out for a couple minutes. But then we saw Mr. Burger Tom, Jake Burger, go and be traded to the Miami Marlins. And do you know the guy's name that they got for what's his name? I keep forgetting what these guys' names are, bro.
Isn't it like Jack Eder?
Yeah, Eder. There we go. Eder. There we go. So we got Eder, and he is one of the top pitching prospects for the Miami Marlins. And I was looking at a thing for the White Sox. It says that they have like 4 of the top 10 prospects in baseball now. But I'm sorry, and I've said this on a few episodes ago, I don't even care. I just want to see these guys come up here. I want to see them perform. I just want to see winning baseball. And you could be prospects all you want. I don't even care. Yohan Moncada was the best prospect in baseball. And look at what this guy's doing. He shows fast. He shows flashes of being such a great player. And then he shows flashes of being this guy that can't even just swing at a beach ball. So it's like, I don't even know. And it's like, Jake Burger, I want to mention it too. He looked a little sad when he left. And then just 24 hours later, after the Marlins won a game, he came out and said about the team's culture. He said this is the most fun he's had in baseball in a long time. The guys opened him up with welcome arms. They did a $5 burger to welcome him to Miami. And you were telling me, I didn't know this, that they do that on Tuesdays at the Sox game. So, I mean, the Sox they didn't promote it. They don't care is what the problem is. They said, just spend your money. We don't want you to know there's $5 burgers. You got to find it on your own. So those were really telling, and he's not the first player to come out and say it and everything like that. So with the comments that Jay Berger said, do you think the White Sox are just cursed, or what do you think that it is about this team that just is like that it seems like these guys leave and they just find it like, I don't know. Like Lance Lynn, he pitched. I know it's the Athletics and everything, but if he was facing us, or if he was on our team with the Athletics, we probably would have given up 3 home runs. So, do you think, are we cursed?
If you want my honest opinion on it,
Let's hear it. Hey, I love the honesty. You got to be honest.
Han the Con sat there and handed a bunch of guys a shit ton of money without much proof that they were going to be as great as they were banking on the guys hitting their ceiling early on and then having them cheap throughout solid years of baseball. Arguably right now, the only extension of a young guy that you can really sit and feel comfortable about is Luis Robert Jr. His extension's fine. I mean, we have him. It's a team friendly contract. And I mean, Tim Anderson's obviously, but other than that, I mean, how great can the culture be when you have Yohan Moncada, who's about to make $25 million next year, sitting out, and he could very well be injured, but I mean, at this point, you don't really know what the deal is with people. It doesn't matter what the excuse is, though. The performance isn't there. You're not playing at the level that someone who's making $25 million should be playing, the amount of games and just your performance overall. So I contribute some of what Berger may have felt in the sense of Berger sitting there hitting 25 home runs, making the league minimum that he's able to sit and pretty much make. And you have guys on the team who How many home runs does Yohan Moncada have this year?
I
Like
don't even
4
know.
or 5? I mean, you have guys who are
Does he even have
making
5? Shit, I don't even know.
I mean, it's just instances like that where, I mean, it has to be frustrating if you're one of these players who wasn't touted as a top prospect and got extended right away, because you're sitting there playing with guys who come across as they don't care or they're just not reaching their level of performance, while you have these guys who are making the minimum money around them sitting and actually producing. And that's kind of what it came down to in the Jake Berger trade is you weren't going to be able to trade that Yohan Moncada contract. I don't think Tim Anderson's value that the Sox valued him at ever was even near what a team was willing to offer.
Yeah.
And then Eloy Jimenez, I've always said injury concerns, it's like you and I can see it as a fan. So why would a team that like is run by a
Well, I
different
mean,
GM?
well, it looked like he got hurt on that play when he came in to pitch hit. And it's like, we'll get to that later. Why was Robert and Eloy not in the game when we're about to get swept by the Rangers? Yes, the game don't matter, but we had bases loaded. We got 3 runs. We had a little thing. They tried to have something going on and everything. So, and that's the thing, like with Eloy, like it's like you're just waiting for him, and it's always running to first base. You notice that? You notice how it's always running to first base with this guy? I love Eloy, and I was so happy when we got him. I was like, though someone, and it just, yeah. And it's one of those things I want to ask you before I forget, because sometimes I do that, and you know that. Do you think that it was either Berger or Eloy? And if the Marlins called you and said, okay, we want Yohan Moncada for Jake Eater, would you have replaced Moncada with Berger and sent them to Miami?
Yes, but
Like
well, that's the
hypothetically,
thing.
you know what I mean?
Miami would not have taken on
No,
unless you
I
were
know
going.
they wouldn't have. I'm just saying, like, would you have it had Jake Berger be the third baseman? Like every
Yeah,
day,
at this point, yes, because I mean, just purely looking at it from the contract standpoint, Moncada has 1 more year that he's owed 25 million. Berger, I think, has 4 or 5 more years of control, to which eventually he'll hit arbitration, but you're not going to be paying him nearly as much unless you were to extend him. And Jake Berger, I mean, offensively has produced. I mean, he was our second biggest producer on the offense, largest. I mean, it sucks to see, but I mean, you were never going to get a Eder type return if you traded Eloy or Moncada, because it would either be eat all of this money, so you're giving us this player but paying him anyways, and we'll give you a prospect, or it would be we'll eat this money but you're not getting anything in return.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And Rick Hahn said it. He made a comment where he said that it was a position of
Depth.
depth and oh my god, I can't remember the word he said, but it was of like success, and it was like Berger and Moncada had the same numbers, and they were able to just like trade them away because. And it's just like, what do you mean? Berger has 25 home runs. He's had a walk-off grand slam. He's done all these things. He's had like, and it's like, yes, the story is good and everything like that. And I will say, yes, it's sad that Berger is gone, and it's it's one of those things. But me and you were talking about it before, and I don't know, you can't say what you said off camera, but I mean, the people that are acting like this man died and that this man was going to bring us a World Series and this man was the end all be all. It's like, listen, I understand that he has the most home runs. He's doing his thing. He brings his family's the best. His wife's amazing. His kid's the cutest. Like, I get all that, but it just like. It's not like Berger was going to win us a World Series, and it doesn't look like it. Honestly looks like the only players, if the White Sox were to somehow turn this around next year, that honestly I could see maybe being on the team, depending on like, whatever else happens, is like Robert, obviously. And yes, they tried to trade Cease, and they might even try to trade him in the offseason. But if he's on the team next year, I feel like, it's like there's just not that many guys where it just like, I don't even know, man. Like, I really don't. And it just like, it was just like I'm just not even shocked anymore. Like, that's how I've kind of become. Like, when I saw the trade, I'm like, I'm not shocked. Everybody was like, oh my God, Berger got traded. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I knew something was going to happen because they had to do something, but I don't know.
I just went into the deadline going, you're going to trade Reynolds, and they could try and shop whoever they wanted all they want, but sunken costs is not what a playoff team is looking to eat unless there's some crazy upside that they see. And I don't think a team was going to be like, we'll take Yoan Moncada because he's going to hit for power. I mean, it's like trying to sit and turn a pile of shit into gold, essentially.
That's what he tries to do with everything. Like he wants to have 25 Keaton Middletons. He wants to have, you know what I mean? Like he wants to have like 20 Brian Goodwins. Somebody had to show the Brian Goodwin walk-off tweet again. I'm like, I hate you. I'm like, those were the good times. I'm like, this is when I thought the White Sox were going to be the team of the next, like, oh man, it just makes me mad to see these other teams do so good. And it's just like, well, what is wrong with us? Like, what do we have to do to fix this? Like, what is the problem? Because we traded Lynn, we traded Kelly, and then we traded Giolito. We win 2 out of 3 versus the Guard. I'm like, maybe we go on a row, and then we lose 4 in a row. So it's like, what is it? And we talked about, they have no fight, they have no love. All the guys that go and leave seem to be happier, or whatever the hell. And I don't know. But again, I'm not going to switch teams just because, it's like, because again, if it does somehow turn around, and again, that's a big if. But if it does, everybody's going to be running back, and everybody's going to be, oh, we White Sox fan, we back, we're the real ones. Everybody's going to be sure, and it's just like the memes of Rick Hahn when Giolito sucked. It's like, again, and I said it, maybe these players just aren't good. Maybe, maybe Gio isn't what we thought he was. Maybe Lopez hit 100, so that was good. Lance Lynn shoved versus the A's, but that's the Athletics. Joe Kelly had more walks. He had a couple more walks, but he got out of a bases loaded jam. So it's like the guys are playing like good, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're just good. And we, because again, like we could have talked about it. Like at the time, they could have went out and got a Bryce Harper, Manny Machado type of a player. And who knows, maybe that would have been the difference, is having that type of a superstar. But as you said, as we started talking, all the money that they relied on with Yoan, and they paid Eloy, and they paid Robert, and they paid all these guys, it's like they were just relying and like hoping that all of them worked out. And as they always say with these prospects, not all prospects are going to work out, and it just seems like we got all the ones that just aren't working out. So do you have anything else about like the trades and everything else? Because again, like a lot of these guys are in AA, and a lot of these guys are top prospects. But until I really see more, and I did see Edgar throw a few guys out in a Birmingham game. I think it was Birmingham AA. And it looked pretty good. But again, it's like I just want to see it in the major league, because you could look at Oscar Colas, bro. This guy had 7 home runs in 8 games, and the guy can't even hit it out of the outfield. Bro, they didn't hit it out of the outfield out of the infield until the 6th inning yesterday. Huh? Like what? Like awful. So you got anything else about the trade deadline or anything else? Because it was
all the
Tuesday.
Guys that they acquired at the deadline, I was after looking through whatever's available on these players. I mean, there's no way to predict the future, but it appears that their approach at the deadline was very similar to that at the draft, where these last 2, or you could argue 3, the last 2 for sure, 3 drafts, they have drafted a lot better and are picking guys more so for being a very attainable ceiling, as opposed to this guy has some small ass chance that he becomes like an all-star consecutive years. I mean, I think that's the difference is Moncada wasn't a sure thing, because I mean, we got Moncada instead of Devers because Boston thought, I mean, the trades that were made
Boston
before.
Knew. That's it. Boston knew. That's all. That's it. Boston just knew.
And I mean, Eloy, the injury history had always been there. So, I mean, there were guys who had red flags prior to being traded for before. Whereas a lot of these guys, I mean, and the catching is really what needs to be highlighted here. The catching and starting pitching that was acquired was very, I mean, you filled a lot of depth that you lacked in the minor league system, especially with starting pitching. But also, I mean, Corey Lee, I think, played some games with Houston last season. And the guy has a cannon of an arm, is what I've been able to kind of dig up on him. They said the only issue with him is he isn't as experienced of a catcher as others, so I think he needs to work on some of his blocking. But I mean, depending,
It can't be as bad as Sebi Zavala or Yaz. I'm still waiting
well,
for Yaz to be.
Yaz is probably going to get, I would assume,
That's
DFA.
that's what I'm saying. I've been waiting. I think he gets DFA tomorrow. I think today was his last game against the White Sox.
Yeah, I don't really know because someone pointed out too that they won't DFA Elvis during the games against Texas because he played for them for 15 years. So it may be strategic. The Sox kind of are weird about how.
I mean, again,
Corey Lee though, the Corey Lee is going to need a rehab because I think he was hurt when we traded for him.
Everybody's hurt.
Well, it was one of those. I think it was like a 7-day IL or something. It was a very minor injury list or whatever. So I would think they'll let him rehab in AAA, and then once he's ready to go, then I mean it's either going to be Sebi or Yaz needs to go. Neither of them. Go. I mean, Sebi doesn't have options to be optioned to AAA, so if they're going to sit there and just let Yaz finish the season out, Sebi's going to be the one gone. But I would like to think it would be the other way around, with Yaz just being DFA'd because he doesn't benefit us to keep on the team at this point. There's you got to get eyes on some of these younger guys and see what you have.
Well, yeah. And this is the position we're at 43 and 67. You got to love it. Bro, this team's going to lose 100 games. And it's so sad. Maybe we lose.
It's not even sad at this
and then we come back and make the playoffs next year. That's my only pray.
It's not even sad at this point. I mean, at this point, you do want them to be really, really bad.
I just can't sit through losing, bro. My head.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, no offense. I'm tired. The offense sucks.
Oh, it's awful.
I mean, you really need to see what you have with the younger guys sooner than later.
Well, I mean, Colston Montgomery, bro. I was listening to that podcast today with Chuck and the MLB.
I don't think he comes up.
No, I don't think he does. But it's just like hearing that, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, because the next question I was going to ask you, we have all this catching and these pitching prospects. That's great and all. And we got Benintendi for whatever, how long they paid him for. We got Robert, and it looks like Colas is going to be in right field. So in reality, and Vaughn, I don't know how long Vaughn will, but so in reality, depending on what Tim does, we really need a second and a third baseman. Well, we still need a right fielder. We'll always need a right fielder at this point. But I mean, what do you think? And do you think that I'll say this, I guess, do you think when the White Sox, and because we'll see some of these guys, we'll see guys that we just traded for in the end of the season, they said there'll be some of these guys that come up and apparently pitch because right now we're seeing a rotation of Tukey, Mr. Jesse Schultens, Michael Kopech, Dylan Cease, and then whoever the hell, Mike Clevinger. Clevinger was a guy I thought would be traded, but then again, what was he really going to bring? I mean, yes, he had a good last start, but I feel like if a team was desperate, maybe, but I mean, they should have just packaged them with Keenan or Middleton.
Well, Bob Nightingale tweeted that the Sox did let teams know that Clevinger was available, and he said there was no interest. So I think that whole
Olivia ruined his life.
I don't even know that she's ruined his life, but I mean, you have to view it as, is it worth the PR nightmare that some of your fans may be extremely pissed off or offended?
Yeah.
If you do sit and trade for this guy, does that outweigh, or is it outweighed by his performance that you can assume you're going to get? And I don't know that you could. I mean, he had one start after being hurt.
Well, exactly.
2 months.
And again, you don't know what's going to happen because again, like a lot of these guys that got traded, like I said, like Giolito, he gave up all the home runs to Atlanta. Yes, Berger he got a walk or something, and then the guy after him hit a walk off or whatever. And Lynn, like I said, the A's. I want to see Lynn pitch versus a real team. So, I mean, again, you really don't know what's going to happen. And then we like we saw with Dylan Cease. Everybody thought Dylan Cease would be the prize trade at the trade deadline. He comes out and gets slammed by the Rangers, and then they just just to rub it in our face just a little bit more, just to stir it around. They had to say, oh, the last time the White Sox gave up 7 runs was when James Shields made his debut after the White Sox traded him away for Francisco Tatis Jr. I was like, thanks a lot. Like, I hate you. It's like, you suck. So, yeah. But after a 2-4 week and a trade deadline, it's time to move on. And yes, Deech, we still have to do it. We don't want to. And it doesn't matter. But we still do got to preview the upcoming series. So let's take a break and let's move away from the trade deadline. It passed, it went. We'll see where teams go and everything like that. But let's now take a look at the next 2 series for the White Sox as they go up and they're going up against those Cleveland Guardians again. Cleveland Guardians traded away Aaron Savali and Josh Bell. Josh Bell hit a home run for the Miami for yesterday. So, I mean, that's good for Josh Bell. I wish they would have traded Josh Naylor. That would have been better. Wrong Josh, you traded away. So, let's go over this and let's get through it because we got this. So, tomorrow, we were just talking about our guy. It's Mike Clevinger, or our guy. We were talking about that guy. Mike Clevinger, he's 4-4, taking on Logan Allen, who is 4-4, and they both have mid-3 ERAs. Saturday, probably a bullpen day because we don't have a starter. And then Sunday, they don't have a starter either because that's just how it all is going to go for the rest of the season. Most likely, probably Kopech on Sunday, I would assume, maybe. I would assume Saturday or Sunday. But with the one matchup being announced and everything, do you think we can win 2 out of 3 again? What do you think?
Is it in Cleveland or at home?
Is it? Didn't you say you're going to a game? No, it's in Cleveland. I lied.
I mean, they'll probably win 1 out of the 3. The whole thing is, now I'd make this argument. If you're pretty much just like, we don't give a shit for the rest of the season, I would almost be pitching Kopech on 6 days of rest and let him build his innings up, but let him rest in between it so that he's more effective when he does get to pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're going to just keep using these bullpen guys anyways. So you might as well at least give his arm the extra day of rest. And then, I mean, keep pushing him to keep maxing out these innings so that next year, I mean, they can't move him to the bullpen. Anyone that
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that. I've heard things about him possibly being a closer and everything like that, and it's one of those things, and I do want to talk about what happened with our closer before we are done here with the episode, because we did not, and that's something else that happened. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, I mean, I don't know. So what are you gonna, it's like pretty much you're trading Kopech for Crochet if you want Crochet to be a starter. So what you're going to take, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't understand.
Yeah, but Crochet is starting from like the ground up. I mean, Crochet has never gotten any innings under his belt. I mean, because the year he pitched the most was before he got hurt, was the COVID season.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was whenever, and that was, I think, one of the reasons, yeah.
So it's just one of those things where at this point, you just got to hope Kopech develops over the next year.
What do we got? Well, how many? So I said the record 43 and 67 or whatever the hell it is. What is that? 108 games or something? How many games are left? What, like 50 something? Like 52?
Yeah, 50 or 40, I would guess.
Something like that.
I don't know.
I mean, well, we'll be. I'll be here for all the episodes, but I mean, man, I don't know. So I mean, I'll say what? Well, I'm not gonna just stop doing the shows, man.
I didn't say we're gonna stop. It is just painful to think about.
Oh, it is. Oh, definitely it is. But that's why we're here to vent and get it out, and then hopefully we'll see what happens. But I'll say 2 out of 3 again. We know the Guardians are not a good team. The Guardians don't have a pitching rotation, obviously, either. They traded away Aaron. McKenzie's still on the IL, right? I think, yeah, McKenzie went back on the IL.
Beaver's on the IL too now.
Yeah, Beaver's on the IL. So it could be a cluster series, and this is a perfect series for the White Sox. Again, eventually they're going to get on eventually. It happens with all the teams, even if it's like a 2-game winning streak again. Like, they're going to have a couple games where they score like 7 or 8 runs. Like, they're not going to not score. This happens all the time. We see it happen because remember, they went through a stretch where they scored like 7 or 8 runs, but the problem is that we don't have a pitching staff. So I'm not saying we're going to win the game, but I'm saying we're going to at least score some runs. So I'll say 2 out of 3 just to be a little, whatever. And again, it really doesn't matter. But I mean, I like to see a few wins. I mean, that's all I like. I don't know, man. The wins just still, even when they win for some reason, it still makes me feel a little better. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I think I have an addiction problem. Sure. I think I need to go to rehab for White Sox.
Yeah, Rick Hahn's your dealer of PR bullshit.
Oh, stress.
We're going to compete in 2024, man.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So before we get to preview the next series that will begin on Monday, let's talk about the other news, because if the season just can continue to not get worse, they just find a new way every day for it to get worse. And the news came out randomly. I didn't even know that there was a thing that said that Liam Hendriks had Tommy John surgery and will now miss 12 to 14 months. So it looks like we may, and it obviously is August right now. So if that's 14 months, that means it's October. And that means we're not seeing Liam Hendriks pitch in a White Sox uniform unless the White Sox make a miracle 2024 season. And Han the Khan is right, and we're winning the World Series next year. And Liam Hendriks comes in and wins and gets the last out, and the White Sox celebrate. Woohoo! But probably not. So it's so sad to see what Liam just can't catch a break, it seems. The poor guy, he beats cancer. He does everything. He comes back. He wins a game. He saves a game. And then he gets hurt again. Just like, I don't even know what to say about this, because all I wish is just that Liam gets better. But what were your thoughts when this news came out? Because it was kind of random and everything.
It was random, but it had crossed my mind that we had received no update on Liam anytime recently that I can recall. I mean, the last time I heard he tried to throw, he was still topping out at like 93 or 94 miles per hour. So, I mean, when your velocity drops, like we'll give him 5 miles per hour. I'd say he was probably hitting 98, 99 prior to cancer and everything like that he's gone through. So, I mean, it definitely sucks. He had been playing with a partially torn, he essentially needed Tommy John surgery, but had been playing through it. So it must have gotten a lot worse. Cause I think he's been playing with a partially torn ligament in his arm since like 2000, I don't even know, 8 or so. He's been hurt for a while, but was just pitching through the pain is what I heard from someone. But
I mean, the routine that man goes through, it must help with his tea and his bones and his just every man. I don't know. I don't even know how the man drinks coffee like that and then goes to sleep. Like when I heard what his daily routine is, I'm like, damn. So the question I have for you with all of this is, do you think we ever see him pitch like again? I guess.
I think that would honestly be up to him. I mean, if he wants to stay, I think Jerry Reinsdorf, as much as everyone bashes him, I heard did do a lot for Liam when he was dealing with his cancer and everything like that. And Liam's the type of person that Jerry Reinsdorf is loyal to. Liam gives back to the community and is just an overall great person who just is someone who you want on your organization. So, I mean, in all honesty, there's a chance that they sit and work out some sort of extension once he is healed. But it is interesting then what comes into play next year, because he has a club option next year on his contract. So I know some contracts are insured. I don't really know with his how it works, but I think it's like 15 million that they can either sit and pick up his option next year and pay him 15 million or decline it, which in turn would have it be deferred money where he'd get $1 million for, I think, the next 10 years or something. Or
gotcha. Okay.
So it's definitely interesting in that aspect, because I mean, that kind of also changes how the payroll will play out. I mean, if you go one route, you have 1 million towards the payroll. If you go the other route, there's 15 million towards your payroll. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do or how they decide to handle that, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It shall be just very interesting. But all I can say is hopefully Liam gets better. He's going to come back better, faster, stronger than he ever was. We know the mentality that man has. He won't give up and he'll find a way to fight back. So I do think that he will end up pitching again. I don't think it will be for the White Sox. He probably won't be back until 2025. But again, who knows? The man has defined odds before maybe he's back in September next year. So Liam, get better, my guy. But now let's get to that Yankees series. Yes, I said the Yankees. Because the White Sox, it doesn't get any easier. They get to go and face the New York Yankees. But the New York Yankees aren't playing as good as baseball as everybody thinks. The record is what it is. But they're in last place. So Yankees are now and are doing, whatever. And we will be facing them next. And we will be going, and then the first matchup, we will be seeing Dylan Cease make his and go up and try to have a redemption start as we go up and we face Garrett Cole. And then the next matchup will be Toussaint taking on Clark Schmidt with a 7-6 record with a 4.39 ERA. So it looks like we have a rotation of Jesse Schultz, Tukey, Clevinger, Cease, and Kopech. Man, I will say this about Tukey. He has decent stuff, and he's definitely doing decent for what he's doing, but the man just does not have any control. Like, he just cannot, he either walks, hits a home run, or gives up a home run, or it's like lights out. So, how do you feel going into this Yankees series? Because I'll give my predictions first. If this is the thing, I will say that they win one game because they find a way to win at least one crazy game versus the Yankees. I don't know how it will be, but I'll say they win one versus the Yankees. What do you think for this Yankee series?
How many games do they play against the Yankees? 3?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. And then the third game is Clevinger and Luis Severino. My bad.
I'll say they'll win 2 out of 3.
My bad. 2. Yeah, okay. My bad. Yeah, I forgot about the third game. Oops. And then they're off next Thursday. So when we come here, we'll know what the week has. So you'll say 2 out of 3. What game do you think they lose out of the 3 pitching matchups I just gave you?
Probably the Severino one.
They do seem to play very well against Garrett Cole for some reason sometimes.
Yeah, actually, no. The Clark Schmidt one, I think they'll lose that one.
They'll lose the one versus the no-name guy.
Yeah.
That's White Sox baseball for you. Gotta love it. So, I mean, again, there's really not too much to say because, again, these games, unless they win 20 in a row, which ain't going to happen, and they make some magical run, win 20 out of 22, then the White Sox are done, and they're going to lose 100 games, and this team is a disaster. So, I don't know exactly what it's going to be. And as Justin always likes to say, I hear Justin's voice in my head sometimes. He's like, don't let it ruin your day. And I try to not let it ruin my day. But sometimes, like today, when they get a little lead and then they do what they have to do and then they just lose. So, yeah. But the Yankees are doing, I hate the Yankees so much. I just hate the Yankees so much. I just want to beat the Yankees. I will say this though, and as we were talking, the Yankees are in last place right now with a 56-52 record. So they are that, bro. That's crazy, bro. I'd be so, bro. We were 56-52. We'd be in first place. It's so bad by a game, a full game.
We might have to do the Keenan Middleton alerts,
bro,
first end when we play the Yankees.
Oh no, that's right. Oh my god, bro. No, bro. He's gonna pitch. Oh, that I didn't even think about that. That's right. True. Well, if he comes out, I guess Deech is gonna have to do the Keenan Middleton alerts. So But I really feel like there's really not too much to say. There's not too much else that's really going on and everything else like that. So let's get to the last options and let's get to the last things that we always do here on the show. It is time for our guarantees and our bold predictions. So, Deech, give me your guarantee and your bold prediction for the next week. What are you doing? Okay, go away. I'm live. Go away.
I know you're live.
Go be an audience member. Go ahead, Deech.
So I think for the guarantee, I guarantee that Josh Naylor will not hit a home run against us.
That another player won't hit a home run. Gotta love it. No, Jose will just hit 4 or 5.
I'm fine with that. Just shut Josh Naylor down. All the homies hate Josh Naylor.
Yeah, there we go. All the homies hate Josh Naylor.
So,
and
my bold prediction is that Tim Anderson has 2 home runs over those 6 games.
Shit, I was just happy I finally got one right, and the man finally hit a home run. I was like, yes. I was like, I got it. So
you have to take the small victories this season.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm gonna take. So I'll say a bold prediction is I say in the next week. We saw the man come up today. He didn't do very good. I took him for my picks to click. I say the next week, Trace Thompson has a better batting stat line the next week than Jake Burger. Very a little bold out there. Just, hey, got to try something at this point. And then my guarantee is that we will see the White Sox win one game somehow this week. Yes, I'm saying one game this week somehow by just some one of those games that is just like up and down, crazy stuff happens. There's errors, there's everything, because that's the type of games the White Sox love to win. So that's what I'll say for my guarantee, because that I feel like that's what it will either be that or it'll either be a blowout. So yeah, but feel like there's not too much left to say for this week. Sox suck. Hope for the best. Let's win a game or two so we got something good to talk about next week. Hopefully I get a couple guarantees right. Make sure, though, you guys go get some Southside Boys merch. We got another order yesterday. So we got we're still waiting on the parade. Everybody loves still waiting on the parade t-shirt, bro. So we're still waiting on the parade. Everybody, if you're still waiting on the parade, go get your merchandise over on the website. Go get your Tino's Time merchandise, everybody. Make sure you guys go and do all that good stuff. Make sure you guys go follow us on Southside Boys. Go follow Deech so you could hear Deech's rants and his Middleton alerts, and all the homies hate Josh Naylor. You got to love the Picks to Click videos. So, guys, go do all that good stuff. We are done here with episode number 2 of the day. Remember, we'll be live here again in 1 short hour, so make sure you guys go get that bell on. Go subscribe to the World Elite podcast, as you will be there. I'll be hanging out with Dylan and Marcus, and we'll be previewing SummerSlam. So come and hang out. And then, as I said, guys, we'll be here again at 8:30 for SummerSlam 2002 Retro Series. So we still got halfway, guys. We still got a lot to do. So make sure you go follow all the social medias. Make sure you become a member. Leave a super chat or 2, all that good stuff, guys. But if you can't do any of that, remember what you can do for free, because I love you and you love me all. Go hit that like button. Go subscribe. On the road to 2K. We're only 30 subscribers to 1,200. So if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button and join the nation. And finally, turn that notification button on so you know when we go live next here on Tino's Time at 8:30 for SummerSlam 2002 part and the final SummerSlam Retro pay-per-view that we'll be watching as SummerSlam 2023 is on Saturday. So, guys, do all that good stuff. Go subscribe to the World Elite podcast. Come and hang out. We'll see you guys next week here on the Southside Boys. And I hope you guys all have a good week. And I'll see you guys all in an hour and an hour and a half.
Tino,
what's up?
Before we close this out,
what do you got?
I want everyone to make sure that they include hashtag HonTheCon in any sort of White Sox tweets that are sent out to the Twitter world or whatever. Hashtag HonTheCon.
Hashtag HonTheCon. So that's how we'll end it. Hashtag HonTheCon. And remember, guys, we're going to be in contention in 2024.